What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and once again I am here with
Gersh1,
aka Sticky Fingers, and today we're back to answer your question in another enticing, alluring, majestic video known as For the Greater
This is a video series where we answer the question stuff by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get those questions first. And that is what Poke Fox Betchy did. He asks, what would happen if the entire Tau military and air force made their way to Terra with 0 losses on the way? What would happen? So in other words, if the Tau were at the footsteps of Terra, could they destroy Terra?
That's crazy, though. Well, first of all, in order to get from the eastern fringes all the way to Terra, that's quite a distance.
And it's not just like a couple of ships, it's a whole caravan.
And not just that, but the closer you get to Terra, the more defense forces from the Imperial Fists are going to be there and whatnot.
Yep.
But hypothetically speaking, I feel like the Imperium is still strong enough to defend it.
Yeah, it would be a really epic battle, and I think that it's not like the tower would just be completely destroyed. I think they would even make planetfall on Terra, but I don't think that...
The thing is, when it comes to Terra and the homeworld of Tau for the Tau, everything stems from that Tau homeworld.
Yeah.
It's like a hub, and then it goes bigger and bigger and bigger. As if with the Imperium, I feel if you take down Terra, that's not really going to affect humanity as much. It's like, yeah, you're taking down like the place where the Emperor resides and everything like that. So that's a huge blow for humanity, because they're like, oh, the Emperor's gone, Custodes are gone. You know, that's supposed to be like a world that's like supposedly, quote unquote, the most heavily protected place in all of the Imperium.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be a blow mentally for all of humanity. But you still have like Ultramar, Fenris. Well, Fenris is kind of like on the edge of not existing anymore. But you have all these other sections of space that are still controlled by the Imperium, whether it's regiments of the Imperial Guard or Space Marines, that they could still bounce back from that.
Yeah, and if you look back at the Damocles Gulf Crusade, which was the Imperium versus the Tau, you do see that the Tau did get, like, they did put up a really good fight, but the reason for that was that the Emperor, or the Imperium, was preoccupied with other wars at the time,
Right.
too. The Tyranids and, like, the Eldar, the Orcs. And then on top of that, the Tau had a supply line, because Tau was right there. So if the Tau are the aggressors, if they're the attackers, I have a feeling, because again, like the eastern fringe compared to the center, or kind of like off to the left where Terra is, that supply line from Tau to the actual invading army is super long. So they got one shot, one opportunity.
Do not miss your chance to, was it go?
Yeah, they're gonna die.
Yeah.
Spaghetti.
Even if they had like the Star Type Nexus and they managed to go into the wormhole and come out, I don't see the Tau winning or doing anything of any lasting effects.
It would be spectacular, but yeah.
This one's by Hard Base Doge. If the entire Catachan and Krieg regiments fought the Ultramarines, who would win?
The Catachan versus who?
Catachan and Krieg against the Ultramarines.
Oh, the Ultramarines win. It's the Ultramarines. They can call upon their successor chapters, and now it's Space Marines versus Imperial Guard.
Yeah, and it's hands down, Space Marines got it.
Yep.
Just look at Astarte. The fan animation is spectacular, and it shows you just like how meticulous and unstoppable an Astarte is. And like, because you see him going against, like, I believe it's like Chaos Cultists, which are essentially humans, and just how like they're able to do practically nothing against a Space Marine.
That's true. This question comes from Chris Westmoreland. Hola, amigos. Thanks.
Huh? What language is that?
Thanks for recommending. It's Mexican. Thanks for recommending the Bridget B podcast. Hopefully she gives you guys a shout out soon. Yeah, hopefully.
One can only hope, right?
What is your favorite Warhammer book series? I've been devouring them like crazy and would like some suggestions. I've gotten through Eisenhorn, Ravenor series, Dante's books, Cyphus Cain, and the first Gaunt's Ghost book. Thanks for the fun content as always. So I've only listened to the Beast Arises and the Horus Heresy series, and yeah, it's good that you're into that kind. I am not. I do not like the 40K books. I feel like I would much rather read the Codex, because the Codex is like quick, like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
this
bullet
is what
points
happened.
as opposed to like a whole grand explanation.
Yeah, like it explains how the Iron Warriors stepped into the cathedral and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to know that.
I want to know how they're killing Xenos.
Yeah.
Burn the heretic.
But yes, I would recommend the.
What about the Beast? I mean,
Beast Arises,
you're listening to that, but would you?
I would. The first book is really cool. The second book's like, the third book is also, but yeah, like the first book is really interesting because, I mean, obviously they're fighting orcs, but they don't know that they're fighting orcs. So the whole first book is just like kind of a mystery for them, but obviously you as the reader, you see the freaking cover. So yeah,
you see the cover.
Yeah. It's like when people try to surprise you on YouTube videos, but the title says...
It's the title, it's the thumbnail. Like,
Yeah.
where's the surprise in that? Yeah.
But yeah, Beast Arises.
I noticed that it's all pretty much Imperial-focused novels that you've been reading. Read Farsight. That one's pretty cool. Gives you a whole different insight into the culture of the Tau, and it's different, so give that a shot.
And it radicalizes you to become a communist. And let's be honest, that's where the country is going right now. And I support that. Fight me in the comment section, obviously. Not in real life. Next question.
This guy's picture's a gopher with a top hat. Gopheria Rebels. Are Space Marine chapters constantly being destroyed as new ones form? Because there are small chapters here and there that I've never really heard of.
Yes, sir.
And they say roughly there's about 1,000 Space Marine chapters currently in the Imperium. Again, that could be because a whole chapter is being wiped out, or maybe a chapter is getting sucked into the warp, or they're doing a penitent crusade, outside the galaxy for some reason. And of course, there's different chapters arising, depending on like the gene seeds and like the successor chapters, and I think it's with the rise of the Primaris, that's a whole different ball game too, because you just got a huge influx of Marines coming in.
Yep.
So yeah, you are correct.
1,000 at any given point. Next question. I have one from Time Lord 259. I know this might be stupid, but I'm a filthy casual. But would the Adeptus Mechanicus get their own Space Marines or an equivalent? They tried. They're not supposed to. And the reason that the Adeptus Mechanicus is not supposed to have control of a Space Marine chapter is because the Horus Heresy was kind of like... Well, since the beginning, it's been Mars and Terra. So Terra had Space Marines. The Adeptus Mechanicus had Scutari. But they're also trying to separate all military forces so that another Horus Heresy doesn't happen, because they don't want one faction to gain all that power, because that usually stirs up a civil war or like a war of power and stuff like that. The closest...
The Bada War?
Well, yeah, so that's because that's what happened during the Bad War. But like the Adeptus Mechanicus did create a Space Marine chapter specifically for them, and then the Inquisition found out and they were punished. But they didn't just destroy the chapter, because the chapter is it's hard to found a Space Marine chapter. So when it does happen, it's like, no, you got to protect it. They're called the Steel Confessors. So check out our 40 facts on the Steel Confessors.
That's really good if you're trying to create a 40K army. You could have, your Steel Confessors alongside the Skitarii fighting.
Yep.
And lore-wise, it makes sense.
I don't really like the Steel Confessors color scheme.
It's just gray, ain't it?
Yeah, so it would be kind of dumb. It's like you would want something with the Martian red, or like something cool like that. But yeah, next question.
This one is by... Derek Marais. He's got a few questions, so let's start backwards. Could Call use the Alpha Primus as a basis for a Grey Knight Primaris? I mean, technically it's Call. He could do whatever he wants, and he pretty much does. Like, even if it's crossing into heretical territory. But the thing is, like, we talked about this a few different times now on whether Grey Knights should have Primaris, or are they, or is that the direction for the Knights? And I don't think so. But I do want true to scale Grey Knights, just so they don't look as squatty anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a possibility. The Reavers in Blood of Lax seemed less smurfy than you would think. Could Call have used a Night Lord gene seed to make these Reavers? It's definitely a possibility. Again, we know for a fact that he has used both Loyalist and Traitor gene seed to make the Primaris Marines, so that's not out of the picture.
Yep. I don't know if the entire unit, though, would be Reavers.
Right.
Or would be from a gene seed. I think it's just kind of like, what is it called? Like battle tactics that were adopted from the Alpha Legion.
True.
Or from the Night Lords.
Mm-hmm.
Has he got another one?
No, he's just got those two.
This next question comes from Magic Eye. Can a Gene Stealer Call infiltrate Terra, and what would be the end result? Yeah, it's actually happening right now. So the Gene Stealer Call is hiding amongst the pilgrims that obviously make pilgrimage to Terra.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening, or like what is the result? The Hive Fleet goes to Terra.
Yeah.
Even though they're already going there, I think it's the Astronomicon that's kind of acting as a like beacon of like, oh, come over here to the Tyranids.
Because that's rumored what's happening with, you said like the Tyranid greater fleets. And obviously Gene Stealers having based as Tyranids would be the same.
Yeah. Next question.
JMH105. So I know this isn't really a lore question, but when do you think GW will release the codices other than Space Marines and Necrons? Do you think they'll release PDF codices kind of like the indexes from 8th edition? So for sure we're getting the Necron and the Space Marine Codex in October, and we're going to be getting an FAQ shortly after that because of the rule changes that are going to affect Terminators, Flamers, Chainswords, etc. So they're all getting buffs, and that's going to affect every army that uses these things. So Chaos Terminators get 3 wounds. Heavy Bolters for the Adeptus Auritas do more damage. So that kind of thing is going to affect all the armies. So I think, yes, we will be getting PDFs for all the other factions, but we still have to wait a while till the actual codices are being released. If it's from what we can infer, it's probably going to be 2 codices a month. So it's going to start in October and keep going until it's obviously been a full run around.
Just like the campaign that we just ended.
Psychic Awakening?
Yeah, so it's going to be like that, but with 9th edition.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that really like makes me mad is the fact that we do have to wait. It's kind of annoying, but at the same time, you would have like really weird, unbalanced games if they threw everything at you at once. I think what they're trying to do is like trying to see the curve of like, oh, like how are the armies playing for 9th edition, and we'll tweak things based on that.
Yeah.
Which is cool for people who want to play competitive, but then for like the casual players who just, I want to have an Orc Codex, like you do have to wait, and it sucks.
And it sucks if you're like the last one in line.
Which, yeah.
Usually for the Orcs, that's the case.
Yep.
It's like, oh, great, I got my Orc 8th edition Codex. Oh, but the new unit is not in it.
Yep.
Now you gotta wait a whole year.
It's disgusting. Why does GW do that?
Because it's not business smart to release everything at once.
That's true.
Or maybe it would be, I don't know. This one's by Dragon Punch 903. What would be considered the breakfast of champions?
I really like an omelet with bacon, goat cheese. I think that's it. Tomatoes, maybe?
Do you put the tomatoes sliced or diced?
Diced.
Ooh. Yeah.
Wait, what's the difference?
Well, because usually it's
like wedges?
Yeah, wedges or cubes.
Cubes, for sure, cubes.
I don't know. I used to never eat breakfast, especially during high school. I just get up and go to class. But yeah, after high school, it's like no, breakfast is A1. And I think it has to do with eggs. I think eggs are the reason why it's so good.
Do you have the traditional breakfast then, or the traditional American breakfast?
I don't know. I make rice and I put 2 eggs sunny side up, and then I mix it all up. Put some what are they called? Like bacon bits, some parsley, and just a pinch of black pepper, and then get some toast, and usually some cafecito con leche, and you're good.
That's cool. Because like whenever I would hear people say like, "Oh, I had breakfast," it'd be like a biscuit, pancakes,
Yeah.
waffles, and it's like, holy shit, how are you not asleep right now?
Yeah.
That shit would put me to sleep.
Like my mom would make pancakes just on like Sunday mornings.
Yeah, but like you eat it and you're just like, this is breakfast. Like this was dessert.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I had such a great breakfast dessert. It's like I'm too sleepy for church.
I was tempted today to get menudo.
Ooh.
So menudo was a big part of my breakfast growing up, but that was also just the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
That was so delicious.
What are your guys' breakfast of champions?
Especially if you don't live in the U.S. I'm interested to know.
Yeah. Is it going to be cornflakes with no sugar?
And no milk.
Right.
He was a weird kid. He still is.
Mm-hmm.
Next question.
This one's by JMH105 once again. So did Lehman Russ actually face any repercussions from the Emperor for burning Prospero?
Nope.
I don't think he did. Well, at least nothing like too severe.
And he couldn't have, just because it was like as soon as the burning of Prospero happened,
yeah, it just snowballed.
Boom, yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously the Emperor ends up getting hurt on the Golden Throne forever.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, how do you punish somebody when you're stuck on the throne?
And even like when the Loyalists did find out, like the Loyalist Primarchs after the Horus Heresy, at that point they're like, well, we saw Magnus the Red and he's a demon now, so
Yeah.
Lehman Russ, you're okay.
Yeah, it's like you did what you had to.
I would have done the same thing.
I always wanted to, even if he was a loyalist.
This question comes from Angel of Death 104. Why is this lore so addicting? I've never played or read anything related to 40K, yet here I am.
Yeah, surprisingly, we have a lot of common psych words. People don't play the game, or they just paint the models, but it's just the lore that brings them in.
Yeah, and I think the reason that it's so badass is because it is a caricature of like the worst parts of society, like the xenophobia, the bureaucratic nonsense, the big titty town, like just over exaggerations.
Mm-hmm. And that's what ends up just consuming us. Look at the Eldar; they were at the pinnacle of their peak, and look at them now.
They're not.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Or maybe they are. It depends on who's looking through that looking glass.
Yep. Well, we are. And we see Big Titty Town.
Does that answer your question?
Also, like, it's science fantasy.
Yeah.
And I think we've always liked that ever since Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Star Wars, Dune, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You could suspend that belief for a minute, and because the answer is always just like, well, how does that happen? The warp.
Mm-hmm.
Magic.
Yeah.
Next question, and this will be the last question. Do you have one?
Yeah, this one's by Alex T. Can The Thing from John Carpenter's 1982 movie survive in Warhammer 40K? And what would the universe look like if it were to become a threat? And how would the different factions deal with it if they could?
I was not alive back then.
But you haven't seen the movie?
No.
No?
The Thing?
So basically, it's like a parasitic alien organism thing that latches onto life and contorts its body to make it a suitable host. So oftentimes, like, it would latch on to like a dog, and the dog would become like monsters from like Dead Space.
That's cool.
Yeah. So essentially, it's a parasitic tyrannid, to put it into basic 40K terminology. I think it'd be dealt the same way as like they deal with like space hulks, because I feel like that's where they would thrive. The Thing would thrive in like space hulk strength to just infiltrate, take the body of one living thing and assimilate into other ones. So I think it's up to the crew, whether it's like a rogue trader crew or I don't know, exploration fleet or something like that, to get in there and purge.
Yeah.
I don't see it becoming like a huge threat, but again, it'd still be like a thorn in the side of any spacefaring adventurers.
And it sounds like something that already exists. I'm trying to look it up right now.
It's very nasty.
Yeah.
I was watching this like through the fingers back in the day because it reminded me a lot of The Fly, and that is a disgusting movie. Like, if I need to throw up, I just watch The Fly. And then when I need to feel better, I watch Jeff Goldblum and literally anything else.
Anything else.
Yeah.
He makes everything better.
Mm-hmm.
He's like salt.
You have to have it in moderation.
No, that's a myth.
Is it a myth?
I'm
It's just
pretty
an
sure it's a
old
myth.
wives' tale.
I mean, you could overdose on salt, but like you could overdose on water too.
That's true. The only thing you can't overdose on is Big Titty Towel.
Yep.
And Bridget B.
Which is pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how tall she is. And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below.
That's right. As always, I'm the Sound Alchemist.
Gersh1.
And we are Afuera! Hi!
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation. I knew I never had that much to lose.